The story of the British Empire begins on a small island in the North Atlantic. At first glance, England was an unlikely candidate to dominate the globe. But over centuries, this tiny nation transformed into a superpower that ruled a quarter of the world. How did this happen? It all began with exploration. Bold adventurers like Francis Drake and Walter Raleigh set out on dangerous journeys across uncharted seas, driven by the promise of wealth and glory. Their discoveries laid the groundwork for something much larger. In time, the British East India Company emerged as the empire's powerhouse. This trading giant wasn't just about commerce. It became a political force, controlling entire regions. Spices, tea, and silk flowed into British ports, creating immense wealth, but often at the expense of local communities. Soon, the British Empire's ambitions outgrew trade. Colonies began popping up in India, Africa, and the Americas. These lands weren't just economic resources. They became symbols of power and prestige for Britain, fueling its rise on the global stage. Back home, the Industrial Revolution turned Britain into a manufacturing juggernaut. Factories churned out textiles, steel, and other goods, shipped worldwide through colonial networks. Yet this transformation came at a cost. While Britain prospered, many of its colonies endured hardship. Cultures were changed, sometimes through exchange, but often through exploitation. In the 19th century, the scramble for Africa highlighted the empire's appetite for expansion. European powers, including Britain, carved up the continent with little regard for the people who lived there. At the same time, resistance to empire was growing. In India, the Sepoy Rebellion revealed the anger of those living under British rule. In Africa, the Zulu people rose against colonial forces. Despite Britain's military strength, these uprisings signaled cracks in the imperial structure. London became the glittering center of this vast empire. Its streets were filled with goods from every corner of the globe: sugar, cotton, tea, and more. Yet behind this wealth lay exploitation, enslaved labor, unfair trade practices, and the stripping of natural resources. The empire's reach was so vast that it was said, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." But even at its height, trouble loomed. One of the first major blows came in the 18th century when Britain's 13 colonies in America declared independence. This loss stung, but it was only the beginning. Across the empire, the spirit of nationalism began to take hold. In Ireland, India, and other colonies, people began questioning British rule and demanding autonomy. The 20th century brought unprecedented challenges. 2 world wars drained the empire's resources and tested its resolve. Soldiers from colonies around the world fought in these conflicts, believing in promises of freedom that were often broken. After World War II, the jewel of the British Empire, India, achieved independence in 1947. This marked the beginning of the end. In the decades that followed, African nations also gained their freedom as one colony after another broke away. Today, the remnants of the empire can be seen in the Commonwealth, a voluntary association of nations with ties to Britain. While some see this as a symbol of unity, others view it as a reminder of a painful colonial past. The empire's influence lingers in many ways, from the global use of the English language to beloved pastimes like cricket. Yet the legacy of the British Empire is a complex one, marked by both achievement and suffering. The story of the British Empire is one of ambition, wealth, and betrayal. It reminds us that power, while transformative, must be wielded wisely. Though the empire has fallen, its impact on the world is still felt today. What lessons can we learn from this chapter of history? And how should we remember it? Let us know your thoughts.